this evening here at Tech Tuesday during Black History Month, so shout out to us. If I haven't already introduced myself, my name is Jess Campbell, and I am the event manager here at the Center for Black Innovation. Also, the host of Tech Tuesdays, doing all the things to gather the people in the community. So thank you for being here tonight. I am super excited about tonight because this isn't the typical Tech Tuesday. So most of the time we have a lot of panels, we have speakers, but tonight we're building.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming. I'm really happy to see you. You guys ready to build tonight? Yeah? Okay, cool. A little louder. Oh, I know. Okay. Welcome to my workshop, Vibe Code Your Vision. Today we called it Code Your Vision, switched up a little bit. But yeah, the name is what we're going to do. We're bringing out your vision for the new year, for an idea that you might have sat on for a long time and you didn't know what to do with, or maybe you tried and spent a lot of time and didn't know how to bring it to the next level. We're going to do that today. And we're going to learn about vibe coding and bring that all together. Vibe coding at its bare minimum is talk to code. So ChatGPT, Claude, if you heard about that, is talk to, create an output for an answer, right? You're just texting to get an output, or you might use Midjourney or DALL-E and you get text to image. Vibe coding is the same process. You don't have to know how to code. You don't even need, it's helpful to know the background of that world, but you don't need to. The biggest skill is how can you articulate your vision. And the term came into our world last year when Andre Karpathy, I probably butchered that name, but he's an AI researcher, and he put out this tweet when some of these vibe coding tools were becoming a little more popular. And he mentioned there's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes and embrace exponentials and forget the code even exists. That got over 4.5 million views, and that's really where it came from. And I think it was a mixed bag about how people felt about the phrase, but regardless, that became the word of the year last year in tech. So essentially, vibe coding helps you to, without being a developer or even a designer, just a person talking, you can test your ideas before investing in too much. You might spend a lot of time on it, but without spending the traditional amount of time in building an app or money. And you can move from I have a thought to I have a thing in a few minutes. And if you've been using ChatGPT or any of these basic AI tools, you've already been vibe coding. So pat yourself on the back. You're already one step ahead. You're just typing it in. Behind the scenes is code. So you're already coding. So it's as simple as that. It's creative direction for code. Popular tools, Lovable. I'm sure you've all heard about many of these. Lovable, Framer. If you're a designer within Figma, you have Figma Make. You can vibe code within there. There's Bolt. You can vibe code on Claude and ChatGPT. My two favorites are Replit and Gemini, mainly because they take the design direction the best. You'll see when you research people who have vibe coded these tools, a lot of them kind of look the same. But from my personal testing and a bit of research as well, just to back it up, those two are my favorite. All are reputable tools. Today we are going to use Gemini mainly because it's the most accessible. It's free, and most of us have a Gmail. Does everybody have a Gmail account in here? If not, it's okay. We'll figure it out. But I would make one really quick. And we're going to be using Google AI Studio to develop our apps today, which is Gemini, all same world. So just to show you from the simplest level, here's something I made in 3 minutes, right? So I had this sentence, which is, look at this as an ad lib for the basic product that you might want to build. I want to create X for this audience that helps them with this challenge for this goal output, right? So if you that's your simplest prompt. So I did that to create like a smart editing workspace, and I typed that in, and a few moments later, I got a really simple tool. And this was actually kind of like a little bit of a mistake. I didn't expect it to, I think I was using Gemini as a search, or I was trying to use it like for Nano Banana, and then I realized I could build an app on there. So this tool, you can upload a photo, and then you can use it to generate a caption for social media, which is like, cool, and you can flip between tone and style, and that was like, okay, great, cool. I can see I can use it for that. But where it became really useful to me is the next feature, which we'll play in one moment, does anybody ever try to like edit photos on like Midjourney and create consistent characters and whatnot? It's kind of hard. So, I mean, even when you figure out the right prompts, it doesn't always keep the characters consistent. So accidentally, I created this tool that helped me nail that flow, and it's using Nano Banana, which is within Google. I'm going to try not to get too many brand new things, but Nano Banana is great for editing photos. So I was able to I saw this feature up here, it automatically added that, and I was able to edit an image I uploaded I said, make this black and white, and it didn't change anything in the photo, it just gave it a new filter. Then I tried a bunch of new different, I put, make this romantic, and I think it added more of like a floral feature to it. So for me, that was cool for seeing, like, I can make tools that help me versus, not only just to make something that I want to sell, but I can create the tools for how I want to work. And a lot of people are doing that. That's like a common trend right now. Like, people are creating apps and uploading it to the App Store, and they're not even trying to sell it. They're just using it amongst their friends. Interesting. I don't know. So let's actually try to make one while I'm talking about all this stuff. So let's try a simple vibe right now. So I'm gonna ask for a couple of volunteers. It's always a fun experiment. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to read out what I'm trying to build. So who wants to be my volunteer? Someone just shout me. Okay, thanks. Now, help me fill in the blank. So you want to give me like a simple idea just to start.
An app for exercise.
An app for exercise, okay. Actually, I'll put it over here. This extended display is a little too extended for me. Okay, an app, I'll put that down for a second. An app for exercise? Okay. And that helps you do what?
That helps you lose weight.
The last time I did this, it was also someone else shouted out to help me lose weight. It's the beginning of the year. It's fine. And also stretching focused. Okay. It helps them move from what to what?
Being 20 pounds overweight to being their ideal weight.
Okay. To their ideal weight. And what's the goal outcome of the tool?
15% fat.
Okay, lowering their body fat percentage? Okay, I'll drag it over so you can see it. Okay, so this is what we're gonna use in the workshop. We're gonna use this in the workshop, so this is on Google AI Studio. So don't worry about doing this right now, but if you wanna get a peek. So I just simply typed that prompt in there at the simplest level, and then I just hit build. So we're gonna wait for that. In the meantime, I'll go through the next section, and then after that, we'll take a peek at what we made. So just a little industry insights, because I think when vibe coding came out, a lot of people were like, well, who cares? This isn't like real, like who's actually making things with this? Like, is this useful? Is anybody gonna use this? Times have changed quite fast. So who's heard of Base 44? Base 44, yeah. Okay, so did you know that Base 44 was vibe coded? I know, pretty interesting. So this guy's name, I don't want to butcher another name, but Mayor Shlomo, let's hope that's it. He used Claude. He used Anthropic's Claude, which is just as accessible as ChatGPT, same type of thing. It's not exactly the same type of thing. It's actually much more robust, I would say, at this point. And essentially, he wanted to build a tool to help with building apps. And he built it as a solo side project, like all of y'all are going to do today. And within 6 months and a team of like 10 or less people, he was able to raise $1.5 million. And then not that long after, Wix bought it for $80 million. And now all of y'all are seeing his ads across your TV screens or YouTubes and whatnot. So that could be you. Okay? Are you excited to be that person? Me too. Meta has already integrated it into their workflows, so they made their own tool, MetaMate and DevMate, and now it's a part of how their product managers bring ideas to their developers and their designers. So before, in this process, you have to go through a very elongated process, a lot of approvals, a lot of waiting, a lot of testing, which you can still do within vibe coding, but now they're moving much faster, and the expectation is that they bring their vibe coding prototype to good old Zuckerberg. And then you recognize a lot of these names, right? Google, Microsoft, Anthropic, Amazon. Now vibe coded tools are already a part of their flow as well. So Google generates over 30% of their new code is vibe coded. Microsoft 20 to 30%. Anthropic said some of their teams report 90% is written by AI. They really have a vibe coding integrated into their flow. And yeah, Amazon as well, built using a lot of AI agents. This is all to say that if you work in tech, you got to know how to do vibe coding, 100%, because someone on your team is going to show this to someone higher up, and they're going to. It's already spreading. So we're doing it today. So I just want to say, it's not something to ignore. It's 100% going to be the way as for now, at least this year, to help you move an idea along, but also within your workplace and be a little bit more useful. Have you heard of Y Combinator? Any startup people in the room? They stated that in the winter 2025 batch, a quarter of the companies had code bases that were 95% AI generated. So they're accepting the vibe coded tool, the opportunity is out there. Even the president and CEO of Y Combinator said, vibe coding is actually the dominant way to code. I'm sure there's a developer in the room irking, throwing up inside, but that's what's going on, okay? So, now the barrier is wide open, right? The barrier to entry is super small, and if you're creative, you now have the tools to build a digital product. If you're a designer, prototype your SaaS idea. Someone in the room said that. If you're a founder, it's so much easier for you to validate that business idea. A leader, if you're trying to align a team, if you're trying to make a project management tool, so much easier. So trying to make some passive income, there's no excuse, ideally. And so how have I used it? Just a little bit more reality to the room. At work, we had a pitch for Mozilla, and they wanted to create essentially for a campaign coming up, make this quiz to put billionaires into space. It's very useful, obviously we all need that tool, but I vibe coded a tool, and I had just learned about it. And thankfully it was the right place, right time, and it helped us win a very large pitch and opened my eyes into what's possible. And it was a simple prototype, just go through this quiz where you answer these questions to build your villain billionaire, and then you get this image, and that prototype helped us to win the pitch essentially. it was on a very not good code base, but this is what it looked like at the finished product. Not incredible, but I used Replit, and I was able to take my designs from Figma from our team, and with the PRD, just basically defining what the product was, I was able to create this. It did take a lot of like clunking around because I was figuring it out, but within a couple days I was able to make this, right? Then I collaborated with the designer and engineers on our team, and we were able to make something a little bit more robust and exciting, and it ended up making it to the live site. And they went to TwitchCon, couldn't remember the name, but yeah, it was a very rewarding experience. Since then, I decided to take it further because I really wanted to get my hands dirty and see how far I can take this. It wasn't an exhausting way to begin the year, but very educational, and 30 apps for 30 days. And in that process, I built a vision board app, apps to help with my consulting process, a meeting transcript app, a cycle syncing app for the ladies and for the men so you know what's going on, a wedding planner app, a tastemaker app, which is like a constellation of you and all of the tastes that inspire you and all your favorite likes, and now you have something to generate prompts based off of everything that drives your taste, a pendulum app, and I used AR, some games on days where I just didn't feel like making a full app, and many more. And what I will tell you my key takeaways were is it's almost as important to tell the tool what not to do than it is to tell it what to do. So every prompt I was like, please don't break this whole damn thing again, and that was a big thing. Or using Claude. Claude paired with Google AI Studio and Replit was essential. Using that to make my builder prompts was really the key. And for debugging, nothing really compared. ChatGPT did not compare. And yeah, without a process, it's just gonna look like every other vibe-coded tool. You're gonna Google vibe-coded tools and you'll see they're all purple. They all say the same words. They all have the same UX. They look exactly the same. So it's important to follow a process, which we're gonna do today. I'm really building y'all up here. So wait, let's check back in on what we made to start. Okay. Camera access. So we made a tool over here just with that one simple prompt, the workout tool, which needs camera access apparently. And we didn't give it any design direction, so it does look, it's pretty good. Has like a little dashboard for your weekly routine. You put in your weight and whatnot. You can log your process and your profile and dashboard and your workouts. I'm pretty sure, okay. That happens. But yeah, you'd want to use Claude to go ahead and refine it a little bit more. But yeah, within 3 minutes, we have a working app, just to show you at the simplest level what's possible. It's not the most beautiful thing, but it's a functioning situation over there, okay? So let's make something more beautiful, right? All that to say, so what's the right way? I just gave you some ideas, and we're going to play with the process today. Like you approach anything, the way you do it matters. And I'm integrating everything I know from agency background and design thinking background, working alongside engineer teams and the jobs to be done process, and we'll be using that today. And a little bit of woo-woo because that's what I like. And you're going to be partnering up with someone to help you elevate your idea. So that's the goal for today. We're going to develop and refine your concept. You're going to learn a process. You're going to reflect with others to heighten that idea. You're going to build a one-shot prompt that's much better than the one we just built. And we're going to develop a product. Are you even more ready now? Okay, thank goodness. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so I vibe coded a vibe coding tool, and we're going to use that today. Partner up with someone, most likely the person sitting next to you. So introduce yourselves. Take a moment to introduce yourselves if you haven't already. All right, now you got your partner. Thank you for that. In the background, if you don't already have it open, log into Google, get Google AI Studio open. And while you're clicking around in there, I want you to head to my website. We're going to use this to go through the Vibe Studio process. So you're going to go to this website, my website, creativecurrents.ai/studio. And on that page, you're going to see a link for the Vibe Studio. If anybody has any issues getting there, let me know. I know it's a long, I could have hit you with the QR code again, but glad I didn't. Are you guys going to do it? Are you guys going to do it? Okay. That's good. All right, everybody got the website? So you go to creativecurrents.ai/studio, and you'll see the link to Vibe Studio.
How do we find Google AI Studio?
Oh, I'll get you there. I'm going to handhold you on everything. Did everybody get to the site all right? I built it on Squarespace, so it might be like crashing. I see one up. Actually, raise your hand if you got to the site. All right, that's good. Help your friend out if they didn't, please. Help your friend out. All right. So then you're going to open the Vibe Studio. So just scroll down to where it says Vibe Studio. And if you're not on the Wi-Fi, here it is. Let me know if anybody needs the Wi-Fi. Okay, this is the Wi-Fi. It's tribe guest, uppercase T, tribe for you. Does anybody need help? All right. So everybody is logged in to the Vibe Studio. Make sure you get to the site that looks like this. This is when you're in the good place. Everybody got to this? Everybody got to the Vibe Studio. Okay. All right, so now we're in the Vibe Studio. So everyone's there at least, right? It sounded a little bit like Eric, right? Okay, so we're gonna go step by step. Do your best not to step ahead, because what you're gonna do, each step, you're gonna do this step, and then we're gonna pause, and then you're gonna partner with your partner, and you guys are gonna play it back to each other. And I also wanna make sure that I'm giving you the best tips for each step so you don't feel confused. So the closer you stay on this process, the better we'll all get to an end product. So let's begin. So you should all be logged into the Vibe Studio. Go ahead and click Enter the Studio. And we're going to do step V for vibe coding, right? And the first one you're going to fill in is, what is your big idea? And why does it matter? And the next question you're going to answer on this one screen is the value proposition. So try not to go further. And if you feel like your idea is not strong enough, you can also hit the polish button in there, and then that will amplify it through the lens of product thinking. And that's it. And we're going to hit the timer for 5 minutes, and you're just going to answer this one step, this one page, just step V, and that's it. And then once the 5 minutes are up, we'll move to your partner moment. Any questions? Yes. Signing in will basically save your progress and your account. Yeah. But just keep on talking to your partner. You're already doing it. You're already ahead. But I'm just going to give you a prompt to guide that conversation with your partner. So ask them, just to help make it bigger and better, what is the biggest friction that you're hearing for the app or the products that you're trying to develop? And maybe ask them, if you solved just this one part, how would the experience change? So. Okay. Anyways, how did you feel about that first step? It's nice to talk about your ideas, right? That's a big, and we got good ideas. All right, step I. So step I is about the individual in the vibe, right? And this is about your audience, who you're solving for. Fun fact, 90% of businesses fail in the first 2 years because they don't know their audience and they don't know the market. So it's super important to know who's your audience, who are you solving for, what are their needs, and what are they currently up against. Thankfully with AI, it's so much easier to get that data. So here we're going to frame that a little bit more. So you're going to go to the next step, if you haven't already, go to the individual page, and then you're just going to fill in who's your audience, what's their dream scenario of this all coming together, which is also kind of like a vision board activity for yourself, right? How does this feel like when it comes to life, like really sit in that. And then what's the enemy of that dream? Like what's currently in their way? What is the challenge of why they're having so much issue? When we go into the next step, we're going to go a little bit more into the friction, but yeah, the more we define this, the better we have market differentiation. All right, 5 minutes starts now. So on the next step, mirror up with your partner and talk to them about, you tell your partner, the person that I'm imagining for this is, or how do you think you can help that person feel more, how can you make this product feel more for that audience? We were just having a conversation about this, like, all right, like, talk about the challenge. If we were talking about the gym app, it might be like, they don't have enough information on how to accurately get to like their healthy body fat percentage. Or it might be an emotion that's blocking them. It might be an access to a resource. Just think about the feeling of that person. You might resonate with that person, so help them also fill in the gaps there. All right? All right, now we're on the breakdown step, step B. Core friction is kind of like the enemy, but you just want to go, this is a little bit further past how your user is experiencing the problem. This is like your knowledge as the creator of where the process is broken. So this just gives more context, which is obviously the most helpful thing with AI. So here in the core friction, you're going to answer, where is the process currently broken? And then, what is the definition of victory? We kind of already talked about the dream scenario, but here you can layer in like, what is your measures of success as a creator? As you kind of watch your user use this, what is the measure of success for them and also for you? So give it all the context possible. And yeah, what does the final polished look like? And the next step after this, we're gonna get to design. Okay, we're gonna go to the next step, but just keep on talking to your partner. You're already doing it, you're already ahead. But I'm just gonna give you a prompt to guide that conversation with your partner. So ask them, just to help make it bigger and better, what is the biggest friction that you're hearing for the app or the product that you're trying to develop? And maybe ask them, if you solved just this one part, how would the experience change? So we keep using the gym one as an example. So if you were just to change one part on how they get their results, how could we tweak that? Or if we could change one part on how the person enters or shares data, how would we change this? Or, think about focusing on one feature and how can you amplify that to make a more victorious outcome. Another thing I will say is, don't only think about the victory for the user, think about the victory for you as the creator. So if it's seeing a bunch of happy customers who are all 6-packs ripped doing like pull-ups, then that's the win. If it's 50% of his mother's accountant customers are getting through the process 20 times faster or something like that. Think about that outcome and put that there. And that will help you get a better prompt. Okay. Here is where you're gonna be a designer. So on the first step, structural DNA, that's like the UX. So is it a dashboard? Is it a guided flow? And you can select multiple things, or you can hit custom and add something more specific. Surface feel helps you like bring in the design a little bit more as well. And then what's really important is right here, these tabs, you might have missed it. This is where you write some adjectives to describe it, but the swipe tab is the most important because that's where you can drag and drop screenshots of inspiration. So this can look like, I don't know, if you want your gym app to look like Netflix, or you want to drag and drop any image design that you want, and that will help influence the prompt to be more unique. If you did skip ahead, that's okay. You can just go hit back and recreate your prompt based off of these updates. But that part at the bottom is where you really drive this to be more unique. There's no more mirror moments, so we're gonna just take a few minutes and then you can just select, and you can always come back to this if you saved your account information, and then drag and drop more detail in there. So I'll set the timer for, what time is it? Okay, we gotta set it for 3 minutes. Totally understandable. If you're feeling like you didn't have enough time, you can always go back. But this is where you get basically the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow over here. This is where you get that big, ridiculous prompt based off of all the insight you gave. And you're gonna take this and paste this in Google AI Studio. I did see some people playing with Bolt and Replit, so you can use any vibe coded tool that you want, but for the purposes of this workshop, I recommend Google AI Studio. It's the fastest, most responsive, easiest, most accessible. So go to the next step after you've finished everything, and then hit Generate System Instruction. And once you do that, it'll take maybe a couple of minutes, and then you're gonna get your big prompt, and we're gonna bring that to Google AI Studio. Any questions? No? Who's already done this? Who's already in Google AI Studio and they're just like zooming along, zoom in? No? I know some people are in Replit already. Y'all lying. It's okay. To have this on your own later, I created this page that says orchestrate and gives you some tips on how you can use other tools, but you could use that later. For now, we're gonna go to, this is the website we're gonna use to build your tool. So after you clicked generate instruction, click copy the code all the way at the bottom and bring that to aistudio.google.com/vibe-code. And you're gonna do basically what I did in the beginning. Just paste that full prompt into right there, it says describe your idea, and then hit build. And it'll take a few minutes and then we'll all see what we got. What's happening? Did you already do it? Yeah, you already did it. You got a question? All right, we're gonna give you a few minutes to do that, and then I'm gonna walk around and answer some questions. I'm gonna answer more questions, but I want to tell you the most important things to keep it moving and to make it something actually that you could tweak and debug and whatnot. I mentioned earlier that I used Claude to work through edits. So I would essentially take screenshots at the simplest level of what I made and say, help me with the builder prompt to refine my app. But I added something in the tool that you're in, the Vibe Studio, on the demo step. And if you have edits, if you're like, hey, the profile page isn't working, or I want to make this function, just go here, give it the feedback. You can even add a screenshot if it's not working well, and then you click surgical fixes. That's the flow of what I did in Claude. So once again, you don't have to do it in there, but that's a flow of what I did in Claude. Surgical fixes, screenshot, as simple as that. You don't have to be a coder. You can do this. And then, and that's what you use to test it. And then just paste that feedback, paste that prompt back in the same thread where you're building everything. I made a burger app just to show you guys something stupid, but we don't even have to look at that. You want to see the burger app? No, so I'll send it to you later. And then this is how you would make everything go live, which I'm probably fast forwarding a little bit, but we're getting close to 8:30, and I want to be able to see and hear what people made. If you even want to come up here and show us, that'd be great. But just take a picture of this slide, because this is where you're going to be like, how do I even get a link? How do I get this on something I could host? How do I share this with people? How do I create accounts for people? You connect it to Firebase. Now this is where it starts getting like slightly technical, but I promise it's all a screenshot to Claude to copy and paste away. It's not, you can do it, I promise you. I should have mentioned, I'm not a coder, I don't know how to code. MySpace code, that's where it started and stopped. All right, so yeah. With that said, does anyone want to, I'll be here to answer questions, but does anyone want to, what happened, care to share? Yeah, you want to share what you made?
I don't want to share it, but I wanted that slide.
Which one? Oh, sorry. That is a very important slide. I'll keep that up. Does anyone want to share what they made?
So we do federal contracts, and usually we have to create presentations. So the goal is, sometimes people are nervous to do presentations. So you're supposed to upload a presentation, and it's either going to use your image and your voice or a selection of images that you're going to upload, and then it's going to take the information, you're going to give it the guidelines. Let's say, for example, you're only allowed 10 decks, 10 presentations, 10 decks, or you're given 10 minutes or whatever parameters, and then from there it's going to take all the important information and then create a video presentation for you instead of you actually doing it.
It makes a visual, like a slides.
No, it's a video.
Ah, I made the video?
It's a video presentation.
You connected the video's working? Okay.
But
Okay.
it allows me to actually upload
Yeah.
the presentation there.
And that is possible because Google connects to VO. That's why Google is really good, because it has all these features already plugged into it. Just know that when you do that, it's going to use a lot of credits. But that's why you want to get people paying for your app. So, very good. Okay, everybody give him a round of applause. Does anyone else want to share what they made?
So I created an app, a web-based, for the laptop, not for the App Store. But this is a tool to allow an independent author to manage their publishing process from final draft to book sale. And so my framework is audience, collaboration, and equity. It's the base framework. So it has a dashboard that tells the author, you're at 42% of progress with your equity portion. And 100% looks like you have a profitable book launch.
Awesome. That's very good. Everybody give a round of applause. I also want to note, you having a framework makes it like that much better. Like, so if, just a note to any of you, if you have a framework that you use as a consultant or for whatever process you use at work, 100% that should be an app that you're making that you can, make into a productize essentially. So if you have a framework, you're already sitting on an app. Just want to share that. Yes.
So, okay, the idea is that if you get your foundation right, you can publish sequel books, and you can publish more books more often, which is the key to success with independent publishing. And this shows that your sequel velocity is 12%.
Oh, nice.
So you get a good confidence boost that it's not going to be as hard to produce your subsequent books, provided you got the content.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Yay. Amazing.
I created a intake form for distant Reiki. I had a good suggestion to provide a definition of what that is, but instead of having a very black and white medical intake, this intake asks what your energy is before you come into the session, where in your body you may have a block, so that I am able to, one, address that specific need. The client gets a tailored ritual or practice to prepare themselves and ground themselves, and then they have the session, and then based on what they said their ailment was, I'm able to tailor based on suggestions from the app, how to help them integrate, and then I can just click send, it books the session and does all that, and I spend most of my time helping the client instead of
Admin.
interrogating them and being a therapist.
Yeah. Awesome. Yay! And one thing I want to say, why Google AI Studio is great because, you know, like he was just mentioning with the video, it already has these features plugged into it that makes it easy for you to get those features off the floor. For example, if you wanted to implement voice, it already has it has little recommendations at the bottom where you could just click that and give you an add-on feature that it recommends based on what you shared. So it's much easier for you to do a voice slide or have images generated or video generated. Just one thing to consider when using Google that I've realized while using it.
Thank you. This was
Oh yeah, that's yours.
Thank you all for being here tonight. Again, thank you, Jessica, for leading a really interactive session. I love how every time I poked my head in here, people were just talking to each other and really exploring your ideas. And someone said, I'm just taking as many notes as possible so I can go home tonight and really, expound on this. So again, thank you all for saying yes. I do want to ask a quick question though. I don't know if I should do this in a survey or just shout it out to me, but more topics like this. Yeah. Right? More topics like this. Okay, more workshops. Because we do a lot of networking mixers, we do a lot of panels, but I'm I think that people y'all were in here lined up against the wall. You said I'm a meeting chair. So I just want to really say thank you. This warmed my heart to see everyone just collaborating and really building and just sticking to the mission of what Tech Tuesday was started on, and that's access and entry for our community. And this is great. With that, please note that we have Tech Tuesday every first and third Tuesday. So we will be back in March 3rd and March 17th. March is Women's History Month. So we will be leading with Women in Tech all next month. So ladies, thank you, especially for being in the room tonight, because most of the time, this room is very male-dominated. I'm just going to say, and I'm all the fellas, we support all the work out, but I just have to say that I'm so happy to see so many ladies come out tonight, and I hope everyone returns March 3rd. We'll have a live podcast, Behind the Work, with Jessica Santana. She is the founder of America on Tech, but also the creator of Behind the Work podcast, talking about women in tech. And then, ladies, we're going to have a Women in Tech mixer. I don't like using the word mixer. Women in Tech, we have Women in Tech celebration. And fellas, please join us, okay? Because we all need to be supporting one another. But I say all that to say, do not let this be your last time. Connect with Jessica online. Jessica, did you already? Oh, perfect.
Right up there.
Connect with her, please. Follow Tech Tuesdays on Instagram. Follow the Center for Black Innovation on Instagram. I know a lot of people ask me, how can I speak at Tech Tuesday? Follow me on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Zakia White. I'll be available to spell that because I know it's a lot of letters and a lot of sounds. But let's all stay connected and let's all make sure we keep filling the room just like we did tonight. And have a good night, guys. Thank you so much.